This is gonna sound crazy, unbelievable, a lie, if you will, but I've never read The Hunger Games. This book was at its peak when I was in middle school, and I will admit, I picked it up a time or two, and I read chapter 1 once before, but I never got past that. So I think you and I can both admit that I've never read The Hunger Games. But this week that changes, because we live in a dystopia, so it's only right that I start consuming dystopian literature. So this week, I'll be reading The Hunger Games for the very first time, and I'm so excited, so let's just get started. You guys, I just got to the library. I'm so excited to start this book, but more importantly, I'm so excited to find Orangey. He's my library cat and I haven't seen him in months. So I really hope he's here today, because otherwise I'm not going to be as motivated to stay and read unless this book is really incredible, which I know it's very popular. I know it's a lot of people's favorite series because they read it when they were younger and they're just super attached to it now. And I want to understand the hype so bad, so I cannot wait to start this book. Let's go set up a picnic and I'm gonna be reading for a couple hours or until Orangey leaves me. That is, if he's even here. I don't think he's gonna be here. I'm really sad, but let's see. I don't see Orangey, but guess who's here? Kramer! Hi, buddy! Guys, look who's here! Mr. Orange! Hi! It's time to update about the book and a few other things. I'm really enjoying this. I do find myself imagining the movie in my head, so I almost wish I could erase the movie from my mind so that I could start fresh with the book, but I can't, and I'm not loving that. But the book is really well done, and I really wish I could have wiped my memory for it. People kept coming up to me while I was reading out there, and I think it's because Orangey was next to me, so everyone's like shocked and thinks I'm a cat whisperer. So first 2 guys came up to me, and that was a little bit scary. Just inherently, I'm a little bit fearful of men, but basically the guy said he could tell I had good energy, and that's why the cats were around me, which I'll take that. And also a young girl came up to me and she asked if Orangey was my cat, and I said no, and then I let her pet Orangey. Let her pet as if he's my cat, bro. I love Orangey so much, but I would never take him home because he likes being outside. Like, I swear he likes living out here. But also, did you guys see Screamer? He's starting to get so comfortable around me, and I'm not super comfortable around him because he's bit me before, but I did pet him today, but he does not like being pet on the head, and I learned that today because he nipped at me a bit, but he did let me pet his back, so that was crazy. Give me a second to blast the air. I'm getting so hot. Oh, speaking of getting so hot, I'm literally in all black and it's sunny outside, so I'm pretty sure my back is burnt. And my outfit's actually really cute today. I need to upload a video so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So it's either going to be this skirt or this one. Keep in mind, we can also add the belt, like this. I don't know which one I like better. What do you think? Long skirt or short skirt? I love my outfit today. I think it's so cute, but it is not practical for reading outside, let me tell ya. I'm at 6% now, but I do not think it's gonna be hard to get through this book at all, so I can't wait to keep reading. I'll see you guys in my next update.
Come here, mama.
I'm already at 16% and I fear I understand the hype because I'm very much enjoying it. I almost cried 3 different times in the gym, and I know I'm dramatic and I'm very quick to tears, so that's not a crazy statement, but I really wasn't expecting as much emotional depth as we're already getting because there's so much more explanation for the emotional events that happen that I don't think we got context for in the movie. For instance, the scene where Peeta throws Katniss a loaf of bread when she's starving, it felt so much more visceral in the book than it did in the movie. And I felt the same way whenever Katniss was describing her relationship with her mom after the aftermath of her dad passing away. That almost made me cry. And then also her describing the Mockingjays. I don't remember understanding the reason for why the Mockingjays were so important in the movie, but in the book it makes perfect sense. So I've really been enjoying getting like an inside scoop or just more details that I feel like the movie missed out on in the book. I am getting a little bit scared of the fact that we are going to enter the Hunger Games soon, and if the author is writing in this much depth and detail, I'm a little bit worried for how gory the games are going to be, and I am expecting to cry. If I don't cry, I'm going to be shocked. But we'll see what happens. Like I said, it's super early. I'm about to start chapter 5, and I don't think I'm going to have any trouble finishing this book because it is very entertaining. Like I told you guys in my last update, the movie's still playing in my head, but whenever we're getting these new tidbits of information that I think adds so much to the plot, my brain's having to think a little bit, so I am appreciating that part. But that's all I have to say about the book for now. I will see you guys in my next update. officially 50% through the book and I am loving it, like enjoying it so much. I did not expect this, but I'm particularly really drawn to all the little moments that we get in the book that we didn't get in the movie. For example, I didn't know what an avix was, but in the book, it's described as a person who committed a crime against the Capitol. They're basically a traitor, and most of the time they're killed, but some of the times they're captured and then their tongue gets cut out of their mouth so that they can't communicate to anybody. They can only take orders. Kind of insane, and I had no idea that was a thing, but in the book we get a detailed description of it because Katniss actually ran into this young girl who was trying to escape from the Capitol, and it's actually so sad because she made it all the way to District 12 and Katniss actually saw her before she was taken as a slave to the Capitol. And just the fact that this girl seemed to have been running away past District 12, possibly to District 13, makes me really wonder what lies beyond. I had never thought about it before, but now I'm so interested. Like, I want somebody to escape past District 13 and maybe there's a way that they can live beyond the control of the Capitol. That's probably where the story was going, but for some reason I never put that together in the movie. But now that I'm reading the book, I'm really glad that I'm thinking more deeply about the story. Okay, also in a moment of like weakness and longing, Katniss starts thinking about Gale, and I literally started tearing up again. So this book is definitely pulling emotions out of me. If I don't cry by the end, I'm going to be shocked. And speaking of emotions, the book has been making me so anxious in a good way. Like, it's building anticipatory stress, but I'm actually feeling it. Like, I'm feeling physical anxiety. Even though I already know what's going to happen, I've already watched the movie, so I know the plot line, but the author is doing such a great job at building tension as we're approaching the games, and we're officially in the games now, but all of the buildup leading up to the games was so well executed. So that was amazing. There's actually a part in the book that I want to read for you guys because it will be oddly familiar to you in such a dystopian way. Before I read the point that I've marked in the book, you need a little bit of context, so I'm going to read what tesserae is. So say you're poor and starving as you were. You can opt to add your name more times in exchange for tesserae. Each tessera is worth a meager year's supply of grain and oil for one person. You may do this for each of your family members as well. So at the age of 12, I had my name entered 4 times. Once because I had to, and 3 times for tesserae for grain and oil for myself, Prim, and my mother. In fact, every year I've needed to do this, and the entries are cumulative. So now at the age of 16, my name will be in the reaping 20 times. And Gale's is actually in the reaping a lot more than that, but I really just needed to provide a little bit of context before I read this part. On other days, deep in the woods, I've listened to him rant about how the tesserae are just another tool to cause misery in our district, a way to plant hatred between the starving workers of the seam and those who can generally count on supper and thereby ensure we will never trust one another. It's the Capitol's advantage to have us divided among ourselves, you might say, if there were no ears to hear but mine. So yeah, that's pretty dystopian because, as you probably know, America is incredibly divisive based on not only political powers but also class and capitalist gain in the market. So that was pretty scary because maybe we have a future like the Hunger Games if we're not able to control the capitalist greed that consumes our economy. But maybe that's a topic for another day. But one more thing regarding the capitalist greed in America, the audiobook for the Hunger Games is $20 and that's on sale. Like, talk about dystopian. You're going to make me pay $20 to hear an audiobook, to rent an audiobook? Maybe you can buy it, but to have access to an audiobook that talks about a dystopian world, I have to pay $20? That's literally so dystopian. Does anyone else think that's dystopian? Are we not seeing the hypocrisy here? I need to calm down. As you can tell, these topics are super emotionally impactful, and I think that's what makes this series so resonant for so many readers, and I really understand why. So I am enjoying this book so much, but I have to put it down for today because I need to edit. As you guys may or may not have seen, I was reading Wuthering Heights last week, so I currently need to edit that video because I'm so behind because I've been reading this book, but it's been worth it. So I'll talk to you guys as soon as I have my next reading update. I'm happy to report that I'm still loving this book. I read a bunch this morning, so much so that I got to 79%. And before going to the gym this morning, I told myself that I would give myself 2 miles to walk on the treadmill and read my book, but I ended up walking for 5 miles because I was just so invested in the story and I wanted to know what was going to happen. But I'm so happy I kept reading because I ended up getting to the part where Rue and Katniss form an alliance, and that almost made me cry. Like I've told you guys, I've seen the movie, so I already knew what was going to happen. So I think the anticipation of that moment made the actual death not as impactful as I thought it would. But then when District 11 sent her a loaf of bread as a thank you, and basically as a we see you and we support you, I almost started bawling in the gym. Like I had to take a break from reading because my eyes were welling with tears. And although we haven't yet had a tear actually fall, I'm still predicting that it's going to happen. So we'll see. Also, I cannot emphasize to you guys enough how much the book focuses on the little details, specifically with the Mockingjays, because the Mockingjays are even important to Rue and her district. So Katniss and Rue are able to bond over and use the birds while they're in the games. And I don't think that this was amplified enough in the movie either. I do remember Katniss and Rue communicating with the bird sound, but I don't remember their significance being mentioned in Rue's district. And speaking of Rue, I'm pretty sure she's 12 years old, and that is insane to me. Like, I keep forgetting how young these people are because whenever this book came out, or at least whenever it was popular, was when I was in middle school. So these people were my peers, so I didn't necessarily put into perspective how young they were to be performing in games like this. But now that I'm older, it's actually shocking to me how quickly these kids have had to grow up and develop skills like hunting and gathering and being able to slaughter and kill animals and people. So yeah, reading this book has given me so much perspective, and it just makes me appreciate the storyline that much more because the kids are so young, so it really emotionally impacts you, especially as an adult. That's all I have to update for now, but the next time I'll see you guys, I will have finished the book, so you'll get my concluding thoughts and my final star rating. I'll see you guys then. I officially finished The Hunger Games this morning, so we're ready to talk about it. I have quite a few things to say, actually. First of all, as you guys know, I really enjoyed this book, and that did not change. And we actually got more romance between Peeta and Katniss, although it was staged in order to get gifts from the Capitol. I also see that there's lots of lingering and confusing feelings on Katniss' side, and obviously we know Peeta's in love with her. So this is really making me curious to see what the next book will bring, because I know that she still has to reunite with Gale. So what's going to happen? This is definitely a love triangle of sorts, and now I'm super invested in not only the storyline and like hearing more about Haymitch and what happened to him, because obviously we know that treating your emotional wounds with alcohol is not a new concept. So obviously bro has been through some shit, and that's why he's coping with alcohol. So I really want to know his story. I'd also like to know more about Effie. I don't know if that's something that we get to hear about in the rest of the series, but I just have lots of questions still, in a good way though. I think Suzanne Collins did a good job setting up for the next book, because now I want to pick it up. And I have other videos planned, but low-key I'm thinking, do I just like read the rest of the series and post that video, because I'm really interested in continuing it now. Okay, I'm also checking notes on my phone because I take them while I'm reading, and I swear again, we got so much more regarding Katniss and Peeta's connection whenever it first happened on Peeta's side than we ever got in the movie. Like, I don't remember him bringing up the dad singing, and here we got it again. So why did they choose to exclude so many of these little niche details in the movie? I'm not sure. Okay, also, we know that Katniss is aware that Peeta likes her now, even though she questions it in her own head. But one of the main reasons she says she doesn't want to be with him is because it's hard for her to imagine a future with a partner where they have kids and a happy family, because obviously the Hunger Games would be such a big part of their lives, and she wants to avoid putting her kids through that. So does that mean that she could potentially imagine a future where her and Peeta have kids? And if so, does that mean she's really interested in Peeta? Or once she sees Gale again, are all those feelings going to come back? I'm very curious. And speaking of, that actually frustrated me so bad because we don't actually get to see the homecoming reunion between Gale, Katniss, Prim, and her mom. So I need to read the second book in order to see what happens. I almost forgot to give the final rating, and that's the most important part. I would rate this book a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I'm gonna round down to 4 for Goodreads, but I really enjoyed this book. It's YA, so that's probably why I didn't feel a 5-star feeling in my gut, but I really enjoyed this book, and it definitely deserves all the hype that it gets. If you guys have read it, let me know what order I'm supposed to approach it in, because I really feel like I may have made a mistake by starting with The Hunger Games, but y'all let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I hope that I'll see you next week. Bye!